All right, so besides Baltimore, let's take a look at who is eating good in the neighborhood. This is served by Applebee's. It's got to be the revival of the running back. And what's been interesting about this position is that nobody wants to pay running backs anymore, right? So they get off their first deal, their rookie deal, and they end up having to go to a new team. And typically they're probably not getting paid what they probably should be getting paid just because people have decided that you can rotate in new, younger running backs that are cheaper as they get later in their career. But now we're seeing guys like Saquon and Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon and J.K. Dobbins that are having this revival in the second team. So what do we think it is? Coach, I'll start with you. What do you think it is with this running back position right now?
Well, the backs are eating good. And I'll tell you, I go back to Bill Polian, my boss in Indy, and he always used to say, we can draft good players, but we need to pay for special. And if you've got a special guy, you need to pay him. And I think we've seen this year, Saquon Barkley is special. Okay, Derrick Henry is special. Josh Jacobs is special. And it's easy to say, oh, we'll get another guy like that. But they don't grow on trees. And so sometimes you might have to change your philosophy and pay those guys. And I think Philadelphia and Baltimore are very, very happy they paid those two.
I think defensively, if you ask any defensive player or coach, you'll see that we always thought that the running back was a premium position. I never never thought that the running back position should be taken away because you don't want to be one-dimensional. That's tough on a defense when you're able to run the football and pass the football. Offensively, I think a lot of times they want to get more talented guys or a faster guy on the field and say, hey, we don't need a star running back. But I think that you've seen, like Coach said, Saquon is special. And that's why I kept saying, this dude is the best player on the planet. There's nobody that can do the things that he can do on a football field. I haven't seen it. And then you look at Derrick Henry. Yeah, he might get stopped 6 or 7 times, but I tell you, he's guaranteed he's going to break one. He's going to break a couple. And that gets the whole team pumped up. It gets the whole team excited. And it sends a message. They wore the Chargers down. That small defensive front, they constantly wore them down. They frustrated them. And you saw the Chargers, they were tired. They were, their heads were down. And it was just a different thing, Coach.
Well, I totally agree with you, Rodney. And yeah, when you game plan for a great receiver, you're going against a Randy Moss, you got to take him out of the game, but you always say, we can double team this guy. I'll put a safety over the top, whatever. You go up against Barry Sanders or an Earl Campbell, and it doesn't matter. You can double team, do whatever you want. Those guys give you a headache. So that running back, yeah, we always felt that was a tough guy to game plan for.
All right, so let's see these notable running backs, 2024, that are on different teams. There's Saquon and what he's been able to do. He's in that MVP race. Derrick Henry right there behind him. He's really in the MVP race as well. We'll see how the rest of the year shakes out. But Jacobs, Pollard, Jones, Mixon, Dobbins. I mean, that's one heck of a crew that's all changing teams right there.
Yeah, and look at these guys too. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Rock,
and I was going to say Matt LaFleur, he wanted to upgrade the running back position, which I thought he did with Josh Jacobs, a younger guy and a guy that's a lot more physical. He's come in. He told me, hey, I'm doing a lot more than what I've done in the past. I'm catching balls out of the backfield. I'm just doing different things. And he loves the position that he's playing. When I look at the Green Bay Packers, continue to run the offense through Josh Jacobs and avoid those interceptions by your young quarterback.
Yeah. Now, if we could put that list up again for 1 minute and look at this, and not only look at the guys in the top 12, but look at the teams. And every one of those teams that they're on are playing better than they played last year. Okay, you pay a high-priced quarterback and bring him in. There's no guarantee you're going to get this, but the Eagles are better than last year. The Ravens are playing better than last year. The Packers are playing better than last year. Tennessee's not in the playoff hunt right at this moment, but they're playing better than last year. Minnesota, Aaron Jones is giving them a lift. Houston, man, you just go right down the line. And when you do hit on that running back and he brings you that identity, you're going to be a better offense. You're going to be a better team.
Yeah. And Coach, these aren't young guys. These are all veteran players. These aren't the first-year players and second-year players. These are vets. So teams want to get away from playing veteran players, but at the end of the day, the vets have gone through They are leaders in the locker room. They've been there. They've done that. And you got to pay if you want good players.
And we've had a bunch of these guys on Sunday night. And when you talk to the players, oh, man, they rave about Saquon. They rave about Joe Mixon. They rave about Derrick Henry and what they brought to the team. So you're right. They're bringing more than just yards. They're bringing attitude.
So Coach, as it always, if you're the Giants, I sit back and think I just sit back and I think about the Giants, and you get a chance to see Saquon Barkley perform and practice his work ethic, him in the weight room, the way he carries himself around his teammates, and just being there on Sunday and talking to those guys. They said, oh my God, Saquon has been great. He's, if we get in trouble, we just hand it off. He's been a great leader. He's been a great teammate. He helps others. That's what you want from a guy. And it's just, it's just been tremendous for Saquon Barkley. If you're the Giants, how do you let something like that walk out of the door? You open up the checkbook and you say, who's the highest paid running back? We'll match that, because that's how we feel about you. And you set the tone in the locker room, but you also send a message in the locker room that, hey, we're not serious about winning. And if you're not serious about winning, guess what? So many guys in that locker room says, you know what, my back is hurting a little bit. I got a little strain on my hamstring. They're going to protect and save themselves, because they say, why should we go out there? We're on a 2-8 team or 2-9 team and risk my career and risk injuries. You don't want to do that, man. And that's why I don't understand how the Giants could get rid of a guy like that.
No, you bring up a great point, and there's a lot of people out there saying, well, Saquon Barkley wouldn't be putting up these kind of numbers in New York. They don't have the same offensive line, the same system. But we know what Saquon has been in that locker room. You know how the guys feel about him. And when that leaves, then that's tough to deal with. And I think emotionally not having Saquon has taken a lot out of the Giants.
I think the point I want to make is that this quickly becomes a business. We all know the NFL. Everybody's trying to decide every year, okay, who are we going to pay? What position are we going to pay? And there had been an issue where, they paid Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas. That didn't work out. Todd Gurley got paid. That didn't work out. So teams started to have examples of guys that they paid at the running back position, and then they started getting hurt, or their production went down in the second half of their career. And so that's why this started. But now you're seeing the opposite example, where these guys are having, 25, 26, 27, 28, and they're still playing at a really high level. And all these guys are healthy. So my question would be, are we looking at a reset now of the running back market, where the Giants didn't pay Saquon and they're paying for it in a different way? Do you believe now that you'll start to see value come back to this position, Coach? What's your take on that?
I think it will, if we get offensive coordinators who understand what they have and play the game that way. Everybody's looking to throw the ball and do all this in the passing game. But if you realize, hey, I've got a special talent, I've got a Josh Jacobs, and I can run through him, and he's going to get 1,400 yards for us and set the tone. If these coordinators start calling the games like that, and these teams have some success and get to Super Bowls, I think you'll see it change a little bit.
Coach, you're right. And these offensive coordinators, they're trying to become head coaches. And head coaches, you're not getting hired if you run the football. If you get in a two-back I formation, what the Chargers did last night, and run a football, you're not going to be hired as a head coach. So that's why I get so frustrated with the Todd Munkins and the Kellen Moores of the world. Me and Coach, we're sitting there, and they're trying all these trick plays and all this silly stuff. And we look at each other and say, why don't you just hand the ball to Saquon? And then not even 20 seconds later, he's taking off for a 60-yard run. It's just, when you have a special player like that, you embrace him, you feed him the ball, you come up with creativity in the run game. You don't have to always sling the ball around. It's not about you becoming a head coach. It's about winning a championship and working your way towards that.
Yeah. If you win a championship, that's going to be your fastest route to becoming a head coach. Maybe I should take your advice.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.